So here we are, HoHo Show at the Peabody Opera House. We've got our friends from Bastille visiting us again. So, gentlemen, let me tell you how this went down, all right? This is a thing for our listeners, all right? We gave them the opportunity to submit questions to us on our Twitter page, 1057 The Point. And the trade was, you give us a question that we use, that we ask Bastille, and then you guys are going to sign something for them and give them back, a little work.
There we go.
Also, too, I don't have to do any work. I'm just reading someone else's questions. So this is a real, true win-win for me all the way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say win-win, I say outsourcing, but it's okay. You can...
Well, very good. And before we get these started, I do want to let you know that video for Blame is absolutely fantastic. Just fantastic. I'm not completely sure what I watched, but it's absolutely fantastic. And we look forward to hearing more from that one. So this first question is coming from Nathan. He asks, what are the differences in touring the US and the UK?
The US is much bigger.
All right.
It's loads bigger, and it gets way colder, as we all know.
And way hotter.
And way hotter.
So the extremes.
It's just it's just like an extreme version.
I think the only thing we could compare touring the US to is to touring like mainland Europe in terms of scale and being on a bus for huge journeys, and also like within the country kind of cultural differences as well. It's quite interesting. Maybe not as extreme as in different European countries, but it's for us it's been so interesting and such an amazing way to see the country in a way we probably wouldn't have been able to. But I think crowds here also are way
more vocal,
way chattier. I think they want like more of a conversation with people on stage, not chatty in a rude way, chatty in a like, how you doing? Like as in I often find myself having a full-on conversation with someone in the crowd.
But we A, aren't used to that, and B, because we are ourselves from the UK, don't know how to do it. So
also the UK's got a crippling lack of buffalo sauce.
Yeah, what's that about? And you guys have got plenty.
Right. We definitely have some to share. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
And barbecue. Brisket is not a thing in the UK, and it's kind of changed my life.
We do have tripe though.
Yeah, and spam.
Tripe and jelly deal.
Spam.
Well, I tell you what, the next time you guys come to town, we'll take you to a place called Pappy's Barbecue. And I'm not even normally like a brisket person, but it is, life-changing sort of situation.
Is that what we had when?
Yeah.
I think that's what we got bought when
the first time we came here a few years ago.
Yeah.
We went to Pappy's.
All right, very good.
Well, next time you're in London, you can go to Big Arthur's Jelly Deals.
All right.
Have you ever been there, Will?
That does not sound pleasant. Whatever it is, that does not sound pleasant.
You don't want that.
No, all right.
Don't offend our delicacies, all right?
So let's go to the second question here from, she calls herself Plain Jane. She says, the coolest place in the world that you have been so far?
Coolest place in the world?
Kettering is pretty happening.
I would say the most stylish place we've been to would have been Seoul in South Korea. And everyone there is like...
Yeah. Everyone was so immaculate. Well, I mean, everyone that we saw was so immaculately dressed and stylish. You're asking for guys that basically just wear black t-shirts all the time, so anything better than that is probably as impressive.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I really realized though before we started this that I should have done the lint roller before we came in.
We're good. I love it though. It's Futurama.
Right, okay, look at you.
Well, you can't, but I'd like to represent in front of the band. All right, so we'll say South Korea. We'll say that's one of the ones. All right.
Which I bet you $1 million you were not thinking that was going to be the answer.
Nah, I wouldn't.
What were you predicting?
I would have thought somewhere, definitely in Europe. I think my pick would have been like somewhere French. Just me, maybe Australia.
I'll go Germany, Berlin.
Favorite place is Berlin, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a mile.
All right. Talking to you about these kinds of things makes me want to tour a lot more than I'm able to do.
Come on talk with us.
Space on the bus.
All right. Well, great. And you know what? I can chip in too. You know what I mean? I can do things. I'm not just somebody that's gonna leech along the way. You know what I mean? I'll work.
You're really good at getting other people to set questions to you.
Right. So maybe we can figure out a way to work that in.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a bit more of a serious question. They wanted you guys to talk about your participation in Streets of London.
Well, we did a show. They started a few years ago. We did this singer Ellie Goulding was like an ambassador for the charity, and she did a show for them at Christmas to sort of try and raise money for their cause. It's a charity that I guess sort of raises money and then pays out to sort of projects that help people who are homeless in London, I guess, change their lives, and both shelters and education programs and things like that. So it's kind of an amazing cause. Obviously, it's very localised to London, but
Sure.
it's just been really interesting being vaguely involved.
Yeah.
And something that I think being in a band, there's always a kind of like interesting fine line when it comes to charity stuff. Like, I think people personally have causes that mean stuff to them. I think it's important to not bang on about stuff too much, but they seem to be quite appreciative of any sort of awareness that we can raise. But yeah, it's just one of many very effective and wonderful charities out there.
I saw just a brief video about it, and it was pretty remarkable. It was pretty remarkable. The different interviews with some of these folks.
Yeah.
I just like to see. It's really great that bands that I like are using their microphone for good. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I love.
I think it's interesting. Like I kind of said, it's a bit of a fine line. I think it's important if you're passionate about something to talk about it, but to not abuse the position and become someone that just goes on about stuff. But that video was brilliant. I thought it was so well done how they kind of intercut, everyone talking about what they wanted to be when they were 10, and the different ways it can turn out. I think most people's lives sort of, you've got no idea what's going to happen.
Sure.
So yeah, I thought it was really well done.
Very cool. Now we're going to change pace again. Real no way to make a smooth transition on this one. But the very last question that we were going to ask is somebody was asking specifically, Dan, that you're a big movie buff, and want to know what your favorite movie was of 2016.
Ooh.
And is it okay for me to say movie and not film? Because I've
started saying movie.
All right.
I've also started saying Happy Holidays. I think we've been in America quite a long time.
It's not bad.
Sorry, mate. And Route instead of Route. My favourite, I saw a film called Victoria that I thought was brilliant. The whole film it's shot in Berlin in one take, and it's a kind of thriller that starts at like 3 a.m. and finishes at 6 in the morning, and it's brilliant. It was really good.
Now, do you watch like for me, to be very honest with you, most movies that I get to see have some sort of Pixar or DreamWorks animation kind of attached to it.
Which is amazing.
So you'll see that kind of stuff too. It's everything. It's not just like cool.
I really liked. I saw Nocturnal Creatures or Animals. I don't know what it's called. The Tom Ford film, which I thought was brilliant. Then the latest film we saw in the cinema was, what was it called?
Office Christmas Party.
Office Christmas Party. Watched that the other night.
Yes.
So I'm not. I'm not. A lot of the films that I like to watch are very on the sort of artier, pretentious end, but I also love. Pixar's amazing. Disney's incredible, and trash is awesome to watch sometimes.
Sometimes you
Not
need
that
a
I'm
look.
calling any of that stuff trash. It's all brilliant.
Sure, but sometimes you just like to go and be
very much
entertained.
did.
You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily overthink everything. Well,
Yeah,
guys,
totally.
we really appreciate your time here, and I know that this is your last show for
It
this
is.
run, so you get to go back home and enjoy the holidays.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming today,
Thank you
and we
very
really
much.
appreciate you playing and being here for us, and we wish you continued success and hope to get to see you again.
Thank you.
All right, very good.
Having us.
Bastille, backstage at the Peabody.
Happy holidays.